So, dear friends, in this video we're going to be looking at near-death experience and non-duality. So my own experience of this was when I was 10 years of age. I contracted bronchial pneumonia, and my family were called into the hospital because I wasn't going to make it through the night. And I had the classic near-death experience where I came out of my body into the corner of the room and saw myself in the oxygen tent with my family around in distress, and going into the realm of how I describe it as pure love, feeling completely connected to everything, everything that has gone before, everything that is in the moment, and everything in the future. There is no separation, and feeling oneness. And when I came back into my body, nobody could understand what I'd experienced. That I didn't really even want to be back in this realm, in this body. I wanted to be in ultimate love, in the ultimate dimension of reality, if you want to put words like that on it. Even though we can't really put words on this dimension or intellectualize it in any way. And it wasn't until decades later that I was lucky enough to be on a retreat for 3 weeks with my teacher, Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh, on the subject of what happens when we're alive, what happens when we die. And Thich Nhat Hanh managed to skillfully put some words around my near-death experience, and it was profound. And he was talking about non-duality, and he was using beautifully quantum physics as well as incredibly deep ancient spiritual wisdom that we've known really for millennia. And there are some incredibly wise beings that have walked this planet that have tried to express it in different ways, through poetry, through parables, through being very skillful and crafting different ways to explain, and yet we're not going to be able to explain it sufficiently. But what we can do is we can experience it in this moment, and we can do this through our meditation, our prayer, our reflective contemplations, our deep looking, through our practice of stopping and calming and allowing the true wisdom to come through our being. And because the thing is, nobody's going to be able to tell us this, and there is a lot of wrong perceptions and wrong views about even non-duality within itself. So we have to be very careful when we're looking deeply into this, and we can get wrong notions ourselves. And that's happened to me as well. So to have a skillful community around you, a wise community, is important on this journey, and to have a guide a wise teacher. I was lucky enough to have Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh, and an incredible amount of faith in the kind of this ultimate dimension of reality, or this God essence, or whatever, this quantum realm, whatever we want to, whatever we feel comfortable, the words that we feel comfortable to put on this connection with the divine. And so I personally like this, the examples that we use through quantum physics, that we kind of have this like relative dimension, kind of Newtonian law, and we have this dimension of quantum physics, or the ultimate dimension of reality, or the historic dimension here. And the beauty about it is the link between these two realms, of this link of mindfulness and meditation and deep looking, to connect these two dimensions, these two realms, because right in the historic is the ultimate, and right in the ultimate is the historic. Again, anything that we try to look at as a dualistic view, we have to ask ourselves, are we sure? Because this is probably a delusional view. And but when we touch into this realm, it helps us to let go. So in Zen, we look at non-self, impermanence, and letting go, which leads us into nirvana. And we can dwell there in this moment, and yet we also need to continue to practice, and to play between these dimensions, and try and bring this love, peace, tranquility, ease, compassion, trust, respect, all of these essences that bring non-discrimination, the ultimate truth of non-discrimination. So if it doesn't come from these places of kindness, compassion, joy, equanimity, trust and respect, then it's not real. It's a dualism. So, and when we start to look deeply at these levels, and we can look at essences like no birth, no death, no coming, no going, no above, no below, and which is really difficult for us to contemplate sometimes, because of this duality that we have. And in quantum physics, they've already discovered that it kind of contradicts the Newtonian, the relative dimension of reality, where we can have, for example, we go down to particle physics, and we can see that a particle can be energy, and it can be matter, and it's continually like interchangeable and continually changing. And scientists came up with this description, this word for this, called a wavicle, and it can also be non-local, so we can't detect it in space and time. So this is a good example of this transcending of space and time, which is the ultimate dimension of reality, or the God essence. So even when we get to a level where we think we may have reached a level of non-duality, of no birth and no death, for example, when we look at a cloud, and we see the cloud, but we see the whole water cycle, that the cloud will become rain, and the rain will fall into the mountain top, and then we get the river, and then it goes back into the ocean, and the full cycle. And we don't cry when the cloud disappears and turns into rain. We are part of that cycle. So to not get too caught in a separate self, and that everything is impermanent and ever changing, and we can let go of these notions. And the wisest people that have walked this planet have seen this, and then they can act from a place of non-fear. The greatest gift we can give to ourselves and our loved ones and each other, our community, and to the world. And when we see people that have walked the planet like this, importantly, they can't be controlled, because they know the true nature of reality. And when they can't be controlled from fear and desire, then they can be free. And then people like this can be incredibly powerful in the world, because they can't be ruled by fear and by desire. So this is a real powerful practice, to be able to look deeply into this true nature of reality. And so we can get to a level of no birth and no death, but to try and understand the level deeper, if we like, where there is no birth and no non-birth, no death, no non-death, is transcending even that level of understanding, where we can transcend and remember that is our true essence. So and we can get to those places through our practice of mindfulness, of meditation, of deep looking, and really finding peace and joy and contentment and ease. And even in these really difficult times that we have in the world right now, we can act from a place of joy and a place of inclusion and equanimity and non-discrimination, and to love our neighbor as ourselves, and to realize that we are interconnected in every way. So when we're doing any harm to even our planet, we are doing harm to our next generation, to our children, to our grandchildren, and beyond, if we can identify from that point of view. So it's really important for us to recognize that if we think that we are a separate self, and this is where the wrong notions come in, to say that I have and the wrong notions within even Buddhism, for example, that there is this notion that I have a reincarnation. This is a wrong notion. It's coming back to quanta, that when all of the elements, all the particles, which are mainly empty space, dissipate into the cosmos, we are in oneness. We are whole. And when we realize that, and we're connected to the, we are the whole, and we're connected to everything we, that this is pure, true love. And it's beautiful to, I like this, I like to think, in my own, to think, I like to be in, when I'm in my deep meditation and my deep looking, it's kind of like I imagine all of the particles that have ever been, ever are, and ever will be in space, to the smallest element that we could even imagine, and that is mainly empty space that you're just bumping up against everything that has ever been, ever is, ever will be, and that is wholeness. And then at some point, those the energy and matter can come together and be another form, and it's not any part of us as we see the separate self that we see. It's just the whole cosmos coming together, and yet really underneath all of is the emptiness of a separate self. And that's how we can practice with this beautiful teaching. There is no separate self. We are made of all. I am made up of all non-Ian elements, and everything is impermanent, which allows us to really enjoy the present moment, knowing that this is not going to last in any way, shape, or form, and to let go and dwell in nirvana, or rest in God. And we can do that right here, right now. Thank you, dear friends.